I am off work early on the way to a doctor's appointment. And I'm going to do a little 5-minute video on Lizzo. It's not even worth 5 minutes. It's not worth none of my time. But I'm going to do it because it surprises me when people are surprised about people that it kind of seems so obvious to me. And I was about to start watching some other people's videos that I like to watch on the situation. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to hear what anybody else has to say about it first. Let me just do a quick video because to me, Lizzo has always seemed like a nasty person and an unreasonable person. Just by her actions, her responses. Okay, yes, people have tried to fat shame her. Shame, I guess it's fat shame, right? Yes, some people have tried to fat shame her, make her feel bad for being her size, which I just feel like that's life, right? Like, what can you really do about it? You know, it's just life. And of course you want to see somebody confident that's able to stand up to that, especially if they're going to be in the public eye or whatever. But it's like Lizzo's responses and behavior and the things she does, I never thought were okay, whether you're big or small. And I think that's what people don't realize. The same way that I don't want to scroll Instagram, scroll YouTube, or scroll any other social media and see people twerking down my page with their ass bent over every time I scroll, is the same way I don't want to see Lizzo doing it. And it doesn't matter if you're small or if you're big. And she never seemed to understand it. It just makes it even worse when you're big and you're doing it, because we know society has its certain standards of beauty. At one time, being Lizzo's size was a standard of beauty, or being big was a standard of beauty, but that's just not the world we live in today. You know what I'm saying? Her size is not like the typical standard of beauty, right? So if you're going to expose yourself like that, you have to be ready for whatever comes with you putting yourself out there like that, or just being a celebrity, period. It's the same way when people say, I hate when people say if they're another like culture, and I know like a lot of times Caribbean people will say it, or like Africans will say it, like, oh, like a lot of their reasons for having a bias against Americans, or just they might not even have a bias. They may just, you know, have a little toot, you know, with Americans. They'll be, oh, like, oh, they tease me, they call me an African booty scratcher, they call me this and that when we were younger. But most people, except me, got teased when they were younger. And I'm just joking. Like, I'm tall, you know, I've heard a big bird slur here and there. I've heard, you know, different things, not much, but you know, it happens. You know, it happens. Most of us, at some point, somebody's gonna bring up something or tease you or whatever, because people are just not used to what's different. And even though America is a bigger culture, because we eat more, they don't eat as much in some other countries and things like that, it's still not, like I said, it's just not in right now to be that size. So it's not going to be the size that's coveted by the majority of people. But she's always seemed, and I told my cousin the other day, she's just always been too much. She's always been too much. And just to talk about Lizzo, I had to look at her chart, because just to talk about her from a Taurus perspective in relation to all the charges and allegations that her dancers and people that have worked with her are talking about and bringing up and taking to court, it's all, when I say too much, it's almost like it's too much Taurus. You know what I mean? Tauruses can be very bullheaded and very stubborn. And just think of the bull. Like, I saw a long time ago that Lizzo didn't really like her size. Like, she did a lot of talking and all this. And I can't stand her music. I have never liked Lizzo's music. I can't stand a person putting out positive music and it's nothing about them positive. And she has this fake message of body positivity and consciousness, but her attitude, it just doesn't, it never looked like her inside matched her outside, and that she was really into all that positivity. And just like a bullheaded person or a bullheaded Taurus, instead of taking something and listening and changing your behavior, you know, or really taking, like, people who care about you or not trying to hurt you or body shame you, you know, giving you advice or saying some things, it's like you go even harder with the negativity. And that just shows a lack. Sorry, y'all, I got a FaceTime call. But, and I have a lot of experience with Taurus. Very familiar with Taurus. I've had long time friendships or associateships with Taurus. Very familiar. So it's like she takes whatever criticism or whatever people say, and you just go harder or more negative with it. Like, you're not receptive, and she doesn't seem like she can differentiate between advice to try to help her versus people that are just haters or just hating on her, which is unfortunate. So I just never felt like her message was really who she was. And we're just in a generation, we're in an age of social media where more of artists' personal life gets exposed. So before, when you may have liked people just for their music, now we can't help but to consider who they are. And I've been over Lizzo since before she even came on the scene. Before we even seen her ass, I've been over her.